Today, I'm going to share with you the real reason why your momentum towards your goal, your personal, relationship, career, business goal, dream life has plateaued, and of course, the solution for getting back into flow. All right, Sacred Success Seeker, I have something that will take your success to the next level. Introducing Cyclical Ascension, the 2-day event to unlock the codes to elevate your energy, create your cyclical success strategy, and magnetize sacred success like it's your goddamn day job. Inside Cyclical Ascension, we will be unlocking your personal code for living in cyclical harmony so that you can more easily move through the ebbs and flows of work and business and continuously experience more clarity, productivity, and energy on a daily basis. We'll be getting over your fear of surrendering or being in your quote-unquote feminine at work and step into your cyclical queen era where you'll go from, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to manage it all, to holy shit, there is so much open space in my calendar. You'll be learning how to infuse your cyclical success strategy into your business, job, or current goal for a productivity glow up and attract dreamier results with more ease, where you're living in your freedom frequency life. Cyclical Ascension is the place to set up not only a life that's aligned with your cyclical nature, but a workflow and foundation for your business, career, and personal goals that will allow you to ascend into success that is sacred. Cyclical Ascension is happening live on August 15th and 16th and available on demand for future listeners. So get ready and get inside. Hey loves, welcome back to the Essence Show and podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so freaking excited to dive into this episode today because I have experienced this more than enough times in my life. And there's really a beautiful and powerful and important message here. And also, I want to give you the tools so that you can get out of this yucky feeling and get out of this place of feeling like you've just lost the momentum towards what you're wanting to create. If you're new here, welcome. I am Olivia Heine. I am an NLP and sacred success coach, your freedom lifestyle curator, and fellow goal getter. How the heck are we doing? Let's have a little check-in. I love a little check-in. Just tune in for yourself for a second, for a moment. How are you feeling right now in your body? Is there any anxiety anywhere? Is there any stress anywhere? Are you feeling good? Are you out for a walk? Are you doing chores? What is going on right now? And just take note of your day, how you felt up until this point, your energy levels, and just accepting yourself exactly for where you are at right now. This is a space where I want you to start feeling good, where you can come and listen to these episodes to really start to tap into that feeling, to feel connected to your pleasure, to fun, to enjoyment in life, to inspiration, to get you into a place of seeing that everything is truly possible for you. And that even if you are feeling a little bit off today, a little low on energy, wherever you are at, that is okay. Honor yourself for where you are at. And my intention here is that this is like a warm hug for you, that you just leave this episode feeling like you just got a big hug from a bestie. I don't know if you're one of those people who loves to go in for a longer hug. That's me. So just imagine that I'm giving you a big hug right now. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm wearing my headphones still. I don't want to be wearing those. Those kind of look yucky. So I'm going to take those off and not record with those. I was so excited. I just dived right in. Dove right in. So I am sharing with you today how to get out of plateaued momentum and what the real reason behind any kind of plateaued momentum actually is, and the reason why I'm here talking about this, sharing this work with you, hosting this goddamn podcast, because you have to have something to say if you have a podcast, right? It's let's think about all the podcasts that really don't say all that much, but that's my intention here. And the reason for this is that I took myself from burnout, being a type A, overachieving, people-pleasing perfectionist, to becoming a flow CEO of my own life, living in my, what I call freedom frequency, that feeling of freedom in my life, building my business around this. And yes, 100%, I'm human. I sometimes still get pulled back into my old ways of being, that's a dominant, or not a dominant, but an old default mode that I was conditioned within growing up. So of course there's going to be moments that bring me back to that. But I do have my codes, my systems, my frameworks, and my way of life now that really brings me back into a place of alignment, of this freedom, of this ease. And I'm here to keep it real for you, give you all the ups and downs, and share one of these codes, so to say, with you today. Specifically, I want to just share with you that I've been practicing cyclical living for over 4 years now, and I have coached 70 plus women on healing their burnout cycles, moving away from overwhelm, and building a cyclical strategy for their sacred success, and actually building out from that their freedom frequency life. And that is what we're all about here. Cycle syncing and cyclical living. I don't even want to say cycle syncing because it's such a small niched element of that. Cyclical living is a way of life, and that's really a massive topic that we've been talking about here for the last couple of weeks. So if that's new to you, I'm going to link some videos here that you can dive into deeper into this topic and really start to understand it. And of course, I try to give you as much as I possibly can of my wisdom and my experimentation and my processes in these 20-minute snippets. But again, they're 20 minutes. So let me know if you have any questions below in the comment section. Like and subscribe to this podcast if you are new. Share your thoughts. Leave a rating and review if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And let's dive in. So let's just talk about why you've plateaued. Okay. So you've plateaued. Okay. Let's just call it what it is. Address the pink elephant in the room. You are feeling a lack of momentum, right? You're feeling a lack of focus. You're not feeling as motivated to reach your goal anymore. You're maybe not feeling as motivated to get up in the morning. There's kind of like this like hazy or dark cloud that's kind of just hanging over you. You're like, oh, I just don't feel like things are working. You're probably feeling frustrated, potentially even angry with the lack of flow. And you have like some maniacs running around in your mind, creating your mindset that are getting in the way, right? You're starting to question, like, is this really for me? Am I doing enough? Am I good enough? Is this really working? You're starting to have all of these like little saboteurs in your mind popping up and being like, well, maybe it's just not for you. Maybe it's not for you, girl. And you're like, oh, no, fuck, maybe it's not for me. And maybe you're also starting to question the process. You're starting to ask yourself, well, maybe I just need a better strategy. Is my strategy working? Maybe I need to adjust how I'm approaching things. Maybe I need to start something completely new. And I'm really curious, it's just popped into my head right now, how much or how often or how many of you shift into looking for like a next solution, like especially if you're like you've purchased tons and tons of courses, or you've like worked with tons of different people, like maybe coaches or therapists or whatever it is that you're trying to like solve this lack of momentum, but by basically like trying a bunch of new processes all the time, and you're not really committing to one of them for long enough, because when you get to a point where you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not working, then you switch. Does that make sense? So oh my goodness, I understand this so well. I have plateaued more times than I can freaking count in my life, and even in this business that I'm running now. And these questions, I really resonate with them. This feeling of being plateaued in what you're doing or questioning things is a really, really ungrounding feeling. And it can very quickly put everything into question and make you feel totally ungrounded in where you're going and the goal that you previously felt super, super aligned with. I'm also willing to bet that you're probably feeling stressed about the fact that you've plateaued in your momentum. So therefore, you are not giving yourself permission to enjoy your life to the maximum anymore. You're not giving yourself the grace to take breaks, the space to enjoy your life. You keep thinking that if you just continue to focus on this goal or on the problem, which is there's not enough momentum, how do I solve for it? Then a solution will come. But that's just not how it works. And I'm going to tell you why and what to do instead. So this is what's actually happening. What is happening is that this energy of not enough is stalling your growth and is therefore plateauing you. And the reason why this is happening is because there are doubts and fears coming up. And we're so good, our minds are so fucking good at picking out as soon as there's like a little crack, the ways in which things maybe aren't working, right? So it's like as soon as there's a little hint of doubt, they're like right in there with us being like, you're right, this probably isn't working. We need to do something different. And like so quickly if they find one little crack, they're like breaking in. Does that make sense? And so this is bringing up this energy, this frequency of doubts and fears because you're questioning your enoughness. So this is changing your frequency. It's changing the energy that you are consistently in. It's changing the dominant thought patterns that you have, the dominant thoughts that you're thinking. And it is creating this general vibe, this general aura of like, ooh, I don't know if I'm good enough, doubts and fears. Is that checking out for you? Are you following me? Are you with me? We always do things for one of two reasons. We're either trying to avoid pain or get pleasure. So when you're super excited about a dream or a goal that you're currently working towards or wanting to create, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited about this. I'm so aligned with this. I'm so like aligned with this outcome, thinking about what it's going to look like, how it's going to feel, all of those things. You are connected to this sacred success that you're creating and this life of freedom that you're currently calling in. This is pleasure. You are connecting your momentum, your goal, your desire to make steps forward, to take action with pleasure. Pleasure are things that feel good. Pretty straightforward, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. And when things feel good in that sense, and that doesn't mean that everything is always like perfect, beautiful butterflies and rainbows and sunshine, but when you are tapped into the pleasure of what you're creating and things get to feel good, or you feel that pleasure on a consistent basis, that is when you feel in alignment with what you're creating. When you are aligned, that is when things flow. You can quite literally think about it as like train tracks, or like maybe like a dam system, where if there is any kind of block in the train track, or like it's like when the train tracks are merging, or the dam, like the rivers are merging together, if there's any kind of block, then the water obviously isn't going to shift into the lane that it's meant to go into, or the train isn't going to be able to run its course, run its track. And so when there's alignment, it's like, ooh, the tracks are perfectly aligned. We can flow through, and we are therefore also in flow as we move towards that desired outcome. When your dominant mindset, however, is doubt, where you're questioning things, where you have fears about it working out, where you're thinking about the worst case scenario, where you're wondering if this is for you, like all of those things that I talked about before that create that plateau, that is when you're in pain. And sometimes we can think that pain is motivating because it's like, well, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to have something better. Like, I don't want this situation. I want to get out of this pain. However, what most of us do, and this is the mistake that you're making, that I see so many people make, is you are focusing solely on the pain. And whatever you focus on, so if you're focusing on the pain, you're going to keep yourself in this pain. If you're focusing on the doubt, you're going to expand those doubts. You're going to look for more ways and reasons that you should be having doubts. You're going to find more ways in which things are not working, not because they weren't inherently working, but because you've now focused your doubt energy on them so much that it has plateaued the momentum. And now you think, well, this probably doesn't work. Does that make sense? So when you focus too much on the pain, or you're too focused on avoiding the pain without focusing on what it is that you want to create in terms of pleasure, your momentum starts to slow and you actually block yourself. So how do you get back into flow? That is what we want. We want to be in the space of things feeling good and things flowing. So the first thing that I want to give you here is a mindset shift, and to really like get you really excited actually that you're in a place of plateau, because it is actually a really amazing place to come to. And here's why. If you are currently recognizing that you are in a position of being plateaued, things aren't moving forward, et cetera, this is so much acknowledgement. This is so important to acknowledge because it's giving you information of where you are currently at. And all a plateau is telling you is, hey, girlfriend, sister, lady, woman, human, there's something here that's not in alignment with you. Something is out of alignment. Now, the question that we want to ask is, what is it that's getting you out of alignment? What is it that's preventing you from being in flow? That's preventing you from having momentum? So the first thing, again, is recognizing, am I working from a place of pleasure or pain? Because that's going to really help you identify, like, what is my general vibe? What is my general frequency of what I'm putting out into the world? The second thing then that we really want to focus in on is, how are you feeling pushed into showing up in a particular way to reach this goal? Okay. Most of us, actually, I don't even want to say most of us, pretty much everyone in our society has been taught a prescribed path of what you need to do to be successful, the way that you're meant to plan in order to achieve your goals, the way that you're meant to structure and time manage and, show up in order to get the results that you want. And the thing is that is a very linear approach. I talk about this a lot, so I'll link a video here to share with you what linear approaches to success look like, so that I don't need to go into all of that right now and you can get all that information. But essentially what's happening is you're focusing too much on creating a perfect structure to get you to the result, that you're then pushing yourself into pain because it's not feeling good anymore. You're not feeling good in the process. You're just doing things because you think you should be doing them. That is taking action from the ego, which is always going to be from an energy of doubt and fear, as opposed to focusing on your cyclical nature. So focusing on what would feel really good here, what makes you unique, having a system that supports every part of yourself holistically, as opposed to just focusing on the physical success outcome, but you're actually incorporating your body, your womb, your energy, your feelings, your emotions, how you want to be showing up, what would feel really good, and like infusing all of these parts of you into how you are creating your process for creating that success and the success that you want. So instead of being in a place of feeling harmonious and having harmony because you are in alignment with what you're wanting to create and you're focused on the pleasure, you have misalignment, which again is no momentum. Does this make sense? So really, like, all of these things that create plateau, the mindset maniacs that are in your head saying like, is this good enough? I don't know. The questioning of like, do I just need a better process? All of these things come down to the way that you're working. It does not mean that the goal that you're wanting to create is not for you. That is absolutely not true. It means that the way that you've been approaching the goal and working towards it has been off. There's been a misalignment, and that is what we are here to bring back into alignment, okay? So getting back into a flow state comes down to preventing yourself or stopping yourself from creating resistance within your own structures. So again, if you're working from pain, generally you're working from a linear approach. You want to get somewhere that's better so that you can get out of the pain feeling. And again, if you're only focusing on the fact that you don't want to be somewhere anymore and you're not bringing yourself to a place of like, where do I actually want to be? What does this look like? How does this feel? How do I want to be feeling on my way there? Like, we're not actually changing the energy, then we're going to just continue to create more of that energy. So getting back into flow really means working from this pleasure perspective. But the way that I teach you to do that is through your cyclical nature. This is where you shift not only your structures and how you're creating a goal, but you're also shifting your mindset, the way that you understand how you need to work, the way that you feel that you're doing enough, the way that you are time managing your schedule, the way that you're actually getting everything done with more than enough time, having enough energy. When you shift into a cyclical pleasure perspective, there is actually enough time. There isn't any rush. You feel like you're on the right track. You are able to enjoy life now, and getting to the outcome, like, you're already whole. The outcome is like a plus percentage. So like, you're basically already at 100% as the human being that you are. And the goal that you're creating, the thing that you want, is going to put you at like 120, 150, 200. Like, you're already like, your cup is full kind of thing. And when we work from a place of pain, it's like, I'm half empty. I need to get this thing so that I can feel whole, that I can feel fulfilled. And that for me, for example, is a huge one where I've often been in a state of, I need something outside of myself in order to feel pleasure, when really the pleasure and the wholeness comes from within. And that's what having a cyclical strategy allows you to tap into, so that you can actually work in a way where you're not constantly feeling this not enoughness, which of course, as we talked about before, creates that lack of momentum that plateaus you. So getting back into cyclical flow by following your cyclical nature means focusing your cyclical success strategy around project creation, that you know when to do what it is that you need to do, that you'll be most efficient, that you'll be able to harness your creativity at all the right moments. It means being more productive. You know how to work to get everything done. And it means creating success that's sacred. So you're feeling good throughout the journey. You're feeling good at the end result, instead of feeling more stressed. Because let's be honest, if you're feeling that lack of momentum right now, you're probably trying to push and force things. And even if that does end up, you're willing yourself to that end result, it's not going to feel good because you're not flowing on the way there. And it doesn't feel flowy and expansive when you get there. Does that differentiation make sense? The other thing that's really interesting is we tend to plateau right when things get hard, right when we're really close to the desire that we want. So take that as like a really positive reinforcement. If you're feeling that plateau right now, it's not a matter of like, again, this isn't for me, or like, oh my God, I'm so far away from my goal. It's actually a message of I'm really close to the thing that I want. I'm close to my big break. How can I just bring myself back into flow? Because like if I'm almost there and I'm just creating resistance because this thing feels unknown or scary, or I'm starting to worry about like whatever it is that's coming up, like how can I like see this as I'm so close, like I can lean back, everything is working. And that's again where having a cyclical success strategy really helps you do that. And this is exactly what I'm going to be teaching you inside of my 2-day workshop event, Cyclical Ascension. And Cyclical Ascension, if you're listening to this podcast on the day that it comes out, it's actually happening today. This is a 2-day event happening right now, August 15th and 16th. And you can actually still get into Cyclical Ascension. The second day event is happening today. You might still be able to make it live. This is a 2-day event to unlock your codes for elevating your energy, cracking your cyclical success strategy. So everything we talked about today, we're going to be mapping that out together so that you can start magnetizing freedom and sacred success like it is your goddamn day job, honey bunny. I'm going to be teaching you how to work with your main cyclical codes. We're going to be creating that cyclical success strategy that I just talked about, like literally setting it up, activating it in your daily life, and really applying it then to your goals and your projects so that you can magnetize your desires and create a dreamy life of freedom and pleasure. And like I said, it is happening today. It's a 2-day event. We had day 1 yesterday already. But this is still 1000% worth it for you to get in on, because you will have access to this for forever. You will get the replays for it, and the value is so deeply infused into this work. Like I'm so excited to be doing this right now with the ladies who are inside of this event. And I mean, even for me, I've done tons of events like this where I just can't make it live because of the time difference. Like a lot of them happen in the US or they happen somewhere else. And I'm like sleeping at 12 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I can't show up live, but it still gives me so much value when I go and sit down and kind of create my own intentional time. Sometimes that's also really valuable to be like, like I'm not in the best headspace right now. I'm going to do it like Sunday morning when I wake up, and I'm going to have my coffee and I'm going to make it really yummy. And like, this is going to be like my sacred space to really dive into this. So even though it's happening today, again, I highly recommend you get into it. And what I'm also going to be sharing today, if you are in Cyclical Ascension, is the early bird for my signature Sacred Success course, Rest for Success, which is basically the foundation for setting up your cyclical lifestyle in order to create that sacred success and time freedom in your own reality. So if you want to explore what that could look like for you, if you want to have the option to get in on the early bird, that is also a huge plus of joining this event, Cyclical Ascension. Otherwise, Rest for Success will be opening publicly next week. The links are below. I do encourage you, if you are curious, to go and start checking it out, see how it resonates. But I'm going to be giving you so much more information and hyping up a live launch next week. So I cannot wait to see you either in Cyclical Ascension or Rest for Success. Again, leave a rating and review. Leave a comment below. Let me know how this episode resonated with you. Are you plateaued right now in your life? Let's chat about it. I'm here to support you. Subscribe, follow along, and I'll see you back here next time.